Hi, this is Logan Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons emerging from the U.S. pandemic as an absolutely titanic victor of the U.S. pandemic. All right, so yesterday, me and my two daughters went on a book trip. I'm really, I'm just like, I'm really on a great roll right now, like parent-wise. My three oldest kids have all become voracious readers. My two oldest were very strong readers, and we've been blessed to have a third. The third of our four kids has become just an absolute voracious reader, and she requested a book trip. We went to 4 books. We went to a library, a college bookstore, a used bookstore, and a traditional, like bar, like similar. It was Books A Million specifically. They sell new books, right? So a traditional bookstore. And so we went to 4 bookstores in one day, and I think I spent like $80. My daughter spent like $120 on books. It's crazy. But one of the things I was noticing as we were going about our day is we were looking at the remains of the U.S. pandemic storm that has ripped through our local economy. And I was just driving down many roads because it was a sunny day. I could see everything. And no less than 24 local businesses are shuttered and will probably be shuttered forever, never to reopen, right? So this U.S. pandemic has just absolutely lain waste to many, many U.S. local businesses and small businesses. However, without a doubt, you can see it already. We are on the cusp of what looks like a very possible, very strong economic boom in America following the pandemic. Because while there were without question defeated contestants in the economic games of the U.S. That were absolutely slain and put out of put down forever by the U.S. pandemic, there are products and businesses that are coming out the other side titanic winners, right? Titan winners. And I think that's exactly what Dungeons & Dragons is, right? So why would Dungeons & Dragons come out as a Titan product, a Titan victor out of the U.S. Pandemic? Well, there's some really significant reasons, right? Streaming has paired extremely well with Dungeons & Dragons, and millions of new players have been introduced to the game through streaming, which was an absolute necessity during the pandemic. The game would have had an incredibly difficult time and could have lost millions during this time. And the reality is, throughout the entire U.S. pandemic, Dungeons & Dragons was massively successful, and all metrics were up for the game, even in the middle of the pandemic. Okay, now why would Dungeons & Dragons emerge from the U.S. pandemic as a titanic product winner? Well, here's a big one. One of the biggest U.S. industries to win the U.S. pandemic, right? To come out of the U.S. pandemic as clear winners is the entire tech industry. If you could shake a mouse today, you're going to make good money. Period. Like that's just a fact, right? Tech was never suffering in the U.S. right from the 80s on. Tech has been on a rocket ship to the moon, right? In some cases, quite literally, right? Like, because there are tech billionaires who are now like making their way to the moon, right? Like, but tech has always been on the up. But the U.S. pandemic has put additional rocket boosters on an industry that was already soaring along, right? And here's the thing: Dungeons & Dragons does not have a tangential connection to the tech industry. It has a massive, solid, thick, dark Sharpie line, right, from the tech industry to Dungeons & Dragons, and that is as Dungeons & Dragons players and as dungeon masters. I would say the majority, easily 51% of all Dungeons & Dragons players work in the tech industry. Period, without a doubt. And honestly, if you are in the tech industry, you almost certainly, I would say at the 51% level, you either play D&D or you have played D&D. No two ways about it. The overlap between the tech industry and Dungeons & Dragons is significant. And that means while there were very rich tech people before, there are about to be a lot richer tech people coming up in this new tech boom that's coming out of the other end of the U.S. pandemic, and they're going to have money to spend, and they're going to want to play D&D. I am just one of them, and I think there are millions of people like me. I already own the PHP, the DMG, and the MM in every single edition hardback, right? I just got 8 Orange Spine Easleys. And even me, with already the small incremental changes I've already seen, I'm already making plans. I will probably buy every single D&D 5e hardback that has been created. D&D is coming out of the pandemic as a winner. That's my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.